Lentils, that's the food that's leaving doctors stunned. Not protein shakes, not expensive supplements, just humble lentils. The tiny seeds your grandmother probably cooked on rainy days. For years, people thought of them as poor man's food, cheap, plain, unremarkable. But recent studies are rewriting everything we thought we knew about aging muscles. Because the same lentils that cost about $1 a pound are now being called the hidden powerhouse of senior strength, when researchers looked at seniors in remote Mediterranean and South Asian communities, people who still eat lentils almost daily. They noticed something impossible to ignore. These older adults weren't just surviving longer. They were moving better, faster, with balance, stability, and energy levels their doctors could barely explain. And when they compared them to seniors living on modern diets, full of processed foods and low-protein snacks, the difference was shocking. Stronger legs, better circulation, sharper minds, and in some cases, measurable muscle growth after age 70, all from a food that costs less than your morning coffee. So what's going on inside those little brown, green, and red seeds? The answer lies in something called plant-based anabolic synergy, a fancy way of saying that the natural proteins, iron and amino acids in lentils work together in perfect balance to trigger muscle repair. See, most people over 60 eat plenty, but not enough of what their muscles recognize. Your body gets protein, but it's often the wrong kind, too processed, too hard to digest, or stripped of the key amino acid leucine that signals muscle repair. Lentils fix that. Each serving contains a unique combination of amino acids that older bodies absorb easily, fueling not just muscle growth, but also blood flow and tissue recovery. And here's the real surprise. Lentils don't just feed muscles, they activate them. That's because of a special compound in lentils called L-arginine, which helps widen blood vessels, delivering more oxygen to muscle fibers. More oxygen means better endurance. Better endurance means more strength, and more strength means freedom, the ability to walk, climb, and move without fear. Doctors reviewing these results had to double-check the data. One physician in a 2024 Canadian study said, "We didn't expect lentils to outperform animal protein in muscle response, but they did. In just 6 weeks, older adults who added half a cup of cooked lentils per day showed up to 25% better muscle recovery after mild exercise. Some even improved their walking speed, a clinical marker of longevity. But maybe the most remarkable part is this. Lentils don't just rebuild what's lost. They protect what's left. They stabilize blood sugar, fight inflammation, and help the body hold on to lean mass, the very thing time tries to take away. And you don't need fancy recipes or strict diets. Just half a cup a day, added to soup, salad, or rice, and your body starts to remember what strength feels like. Think about that for a second. For decades, seniors were told to eat less. Fewer calories, less fat, smaller portions. But no one explained that eating smarter mattered more than eating less. Because the right nutrients at the right time can literally flip your body's muscle switch back on. That's why people who reintroduce lentils into their diets often describe something incredible happening after a few weeks. Their legs stop feeling heavy. Their hands stop trembling when they reach for things. They wake up with energy instead of fatigue. And no, it's not magic. It's biology catching up to common sense. Your body doesn't care about brand names or fads. It cares about fuel. And lentils provide the kind that even a 70-year-old metabolism still understands perfectly. Because aging isn't the enemy. Neglect is. And this $1 food might just be the reminder your body's been waiting for. At first, scientists couldn't understand why lentils worked so well. After all, they're not a high-calorie food. They're small, earthy, and simple. Nothing about them looks powerful. But when researchers started analyzing them under the microscope, the truth came out. Inside every lentil, there's a perfect ratio of protein to fiber, something that rarely exists in processed foods. And that balance changes how your body absorbs nutrients. Most people think protein builds muscle directly. It doesn't. Not unless your body can digest it, transport it, and use it efficiently. That's where lentils shine. Their fiber slows digestion just enough to stabilize blood sugar, preventing the crashes that drain your energy. At the same time, their amino acids enter the bloodstream gradually, allowing your muscles to absorb them over hours instead of minutes. That means less waste and more repair. Doctors call this effect slow anabolic restoration, a natural, gentle rebuilding process that fits perfectly with how an older body operates. Unlike animal protein, which can spike cholesterol or strain the liver, lentils feed your muscles while protecting your heart. And that's something no supplement can replicate. But the secret doesn't stop at protein. Lentils are also one of the richest sources of magnesium, folate, and iron, the three minerals most seniors are missing. Together, they improve blood circulation, oxygen delivery, and cellular energy. In simple terms, they help every heartbeat feed your muscles better. That's why many seniors who start eating lentils notice changes not just in strength, but in color, warmth, and energy. Cold hands and feet, they start to fade. Morning stiffness, it eases. Fatigue after walking shortens day by day, because once your blood starts flowing the way it should, everything else begins to follow. One remarkable case came from a rehabilitation clinic in Spain. A 78-year-old man named Roberto had been struggling for years with weak legs and poor circulation. He used to be a soccer coach, energetic, disciplined, proud of his independence, until one fall left him fearful of walking without support. His doctors tried supplements, physiotherapy, and specialized diets, but progress was slow. Then one nutritionist, almost by accident, added lentils to his recovery plan. Half a cup a day. Simple, affordable, nothing fancy. Within 2 weeks, Roberto noticed something strange. His legs didn't ache as much in the mornings. By the 4th week, he could walk from his apartment to the park without stopping to rest. And by the 6th, he was climbing stairs again. When they ran his follow-up scans, his muscle density had improved by nearly 20%. Not huge, but for someone his age, it was unheard of. Even his doctor smiled and said, "Whatever you're doing, don't stop." When the clinic team reviewed his meals, they realized it wasn't supplements or exercises that made the difference. It was consistency. Every day, his muscles were being fed exactly what they needed. Slow, steady fuel that didn't stress the body, but nourished it deeply, and that's what makes lentils extraordinary. They don't force your body to grow. They remind it how. See, muscle loss after 60 isn't just about getting weaker. It's about the body forgetting. For years, your muscles have been told to rest, not to move, to protect, not to grow. And like a language you stop speaking, those signals fade with time. But lentils, with their perfect balance of nutrients, reactivate those dormant pathways. They tell your cells, it's time to rebuild again. That's why scientists are calling them the memory food for muscle. They not only restore strength, but also awaken the communication between brain and body that aging tends to silence, and it's not limited to athletes or strict diets. Roberto's story isn't unique. Similar results are showing up across studies in Canada, Japan, and Brazil. Seniors who add lentils to their meals consistently see improvements in mobility, balance, and even mood. Because when blood flow increases, so does mental clarity and confidence. Imagine that. A handful of lentils could be the difference between needing a cane and walking freely again. Now, here's what most people overlook. When you eat them matters almost as much as how often. Studies show that eating lentils in the first half of the day, breakfast or lunch, maximizes their anabolic effect. That's because your muscles are most responsive to nutrients within 6 hours after waking up. It's what scientists call the muscle activation window. And when lentils enter the bloodstream during that window, your body stores less fat and builds more lean mass, even with minimal movement. That's why some seniors notice their clothes fitting differently after a few weeks. Not because they've lost weight, but because their muscles have become more active again. So if you've ever felt like your body is slowing down, Like every day you lose a bit more energy or balance, remember this: it's not too late. Your body is waiting for a signal, a simple one, to begin rebuilding. And sometimes that signal comes not from a pill or a doctor's office, but from something you can find in any kitchen shelf for less than $1. For years, the medical world overlooked lentils, not because they didn't work, but because they were too simple. There's no patent on lentils. No company can trademark them. No one makes a fortune from something that costs $1 a bag. And so, while billions of dollars were poured into supplements, powders, and miracle pills, the real secret to muscle health sat quietly in people's pantries. Forgotten, doctors weren't to blame entirely. They were trained to look for complex answers, to believe that solutions had to come in bottles, not bowls. But when researchers revisited data from older nutrition studies, a pattern began to appear like a ghost in the numbers. In every region where lentils remained a daily food, from rural India to southern Italy, seniors lived longer, moved better, and reported fewer falls, fewer fractures, and fewer days spent bedridden. And the more consistent their intake, the greater the difference. What's fascinating is that this isn't a new discovery at all. Ancient Greek physicians once called lentils the food of endurance. Roman soldiers carried them on long marches. And modern science is finally catching up to what history already knew. The strength to age well isn't found in laboratories, it's found in tradition. But of course, the food industry doesn't want you to think that way. They'll tell you to buy the latest protein blend or collagen drink or anti-aging supplement. And yet, the average scoop of protein powder costs more than an entire bag of lentils and delivers fewer nutrients that actually reach your muscles. So here's the truth that's been hidden in plain sight. If you eat them right, lentils can outperform supplements, not because they're stronger, but because they're smarter. Here's why. Lentils don't just feed your muscles. They activate your cell's repair response by increasing nitric oxide, a molecule that tells blood vessels to open up and deliver oxygen. They also contain polyphenols, natural compounds that protect your mitochondria, the engines that power every cell in your body. And when you combine lentils with just a squeeze of lemon or a few slices of tomato, the vitamin C helps your body absorb their iron and amino acids up to 40% better. That's the secret few people talk about. It's not just what you eat, it's what your body can use. If you eat lentils cold, straight from the fridge, you get less absorption. But if you warm them, gently, not boiling, their proteins open up, and your digestive enzymes can finally unlock what's inside. Add olive oil, herbs, or vegetables, and you create a meal that fuels your muscles and your heart at the same time. This combination, lentils, vitamin C, and healthy fat, has been called the golden trio for aging energy. Together, they reduce inflammation, boost muscle synthesis, and improve joint comfort. 3 things every senior needs more than medicine itself. And here's the best part. The benefits don't take months. In clinical observations, people started feeling more energetic within the first 10 days. Why? Because when your circulation improves, your muscles get oxygen again, and your brain gets clarity. That's why so many older adults who reintroduce lentils to their diet say the same thing. I didn't realize how tired I'd been until I stopped feeling that way. But if lentils are so powerful, why aren't they on every senior health brochure? Why aren't they prescribed like medication? Because, truthfully, they can't be patented. There's no marketing campaign for something you can buy with pocket change. And so the message gets buried under louder voices, voices selling pills, powders, and promises. But those who know quietly keep reaping the benefits. Athletes in recovery programs, elderly communities in blue zones, nutritionists who prefer results over trends. They've all seen the same story repeat. When lentils become a habit, strength returns, not overnight but steadily, sustainably, like turning the lights back on in a dim room. And here's something most people don't expect. It's not just muscle that comes back. It's confidence. It's balance. It's the small victories, bending without pain, standing from a chair without support, walking downstairs without fear, because when your body remembers movement, your mind starts to trust it again. You stop holding your breath before each step. You stop planning your day around what you can't do. You start living again, not surviving, living. And all of it begins with a spoonful of something most people pass by in the grocery aisle. So here's what I tell anyone who asks: don't underestimate the small things. They're the ones that rebuild you. Half a cup of lentils a day might not sound dramatic, but in a few weeks, your reflection might surprise you. Doctors who once said muscle loss is inevitable are now changing their tone. Because when they see 70-year-olds walking faster, climbing stairs, and regaining their grip strength without drugs, it's impossible to deny what's happening. The question isn't, does it work? It's how much longer will people ignore it? And maybe that's the lesson here. Sometimes the cure doesn't come from a lab. It comes from your kitchen, from a forgotten food that quietly holds the key to staying strong, no matter how many birthdays you've had. So maybe it isn't too late after all. Maybe strength isn't something you lose. Maybe it's something you can wake up again, because every cell in your body still remembers what it means to move, to lift, to live fully. It just needs the right fuel. And sometimes that fuel comes in the simplest form. Lentils, $1, one bowl, one quiet decision to start rebuilding. They don't promise miracles, but they deliver something better: progress. Day by day, step by step, your body begins to remember. Your legs feel steadier. Your energy lasts longer. You start trusting yourself again. No expensive treatments. No secret pills. Just nourishment. The kind your body understands. The kind nature always meant for you to have. So if you've been waiting for a sign to take back your strength, this is it. Don't let another day pass feeling weaker than you should. Start small. Start simple. And let your body do what it was built to do: heal, rebuild, and thrive. Because aging isn't the end of strength. It's just the beginning of wisdom. And with the right choices, power can come back too. Stay strong, stay curious, and as always, keep learning with us here at Senior Health Today.